Hello and welcome to, undisclosed location today, because today, as I said last episode, we'll be talking about my views on the phone ban coming in schools from, properly September, but it officially started back in May 2026. Welcome back to Random Talks, the series where I talk about my views of the world and how they can potentially be changed. Now, obviously, last video caused a little bit of controversy in the comments, so I do apologise, and I do see all of your thoughts. So yes, I get where you're coming from. Now, I'm going to start off by saying also hello, welcome to a new camera angle. This is an absolutely horrible idea, as per many, but my views are a little bit different. So, obviously, if, for instance, something like an incident were to happen in a school, the CCTV doesn't always work. Hence why sometimes students record it on their phone. Even if they're out in public as well. I've personally had that where I've had to record something I've had to show them in school on my phone, so it doesn't exactly make sense. Also, you need to look at medical conditions as well, because obviously some kids, yes, they may have diabetes or some kind of heart problem or something else, which may involve them having to have their phone out to keep an eye on their blood pressure or something else, meaning as well they can't do this. So there you go. Also, there's a few accounts on social media that are backing up the children, and I 100% agree with it. It's a brilliant idea, and it couldn't get better than that. But of course, what you have to remember is, if an incident were to happen in school again, at the school weren't going to contact home for whatever reason, the child can't go and call their own parents if the school's refusing, obviously, and just say, something's happened, please help me, all of that. So not a very good idea. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel perfectly okay in a school environment, but obviously some people don't, so a lot of the schools aren't really in a safe position to do it yet, which is, understandable, but again, like I said earlier, if something were to happen and the school aren't contacting home, there's an issue. Now, let's go through some messages that I got sent, and very handily on the floor here, I have a piece of paper, which is going to sort of tell me what I need to say. So, one of my friends said, it's a waste of money for my school since they got the phone pouches which lock. Another friend said, bringing phones to school should be allowed, but banning using phones is reasonable. There we go, that is the exact point that needs to be mentioned. Now, for my thoughts, I did sort of write more on that, which again I have here. So, expanding on that last comment, obviously, yes, some schools are saying to turn off your phones, keep them in your bag. I think more from a safety aspect, me personally, I don't think that's sensible, because again, if, for instance, you've got to think worst case scenario, if the fire alarm were to go off, the school hasn't got in contact anyway, has it? So that's been well thought about. So with that, I would then be, you can't really be faffing about turning your phone on, so the most I would do is probably keep it on airplane mode, whether I do that or not, or whether I would as well, then I suppose that all does depend. Now, some schools are doing it just right. Obviously, when they're seen with their phone out, they're taking it off, and that is how it should be. Only to be used in extreme circumstances. That's how it should have always been for schools that were banning it in the first place. Like, no phones, no phones in school, no phones in lesson, whatever. Only in extreme circumstances should they be turned off. Also, I think this does sort of come on with the social media ban for under 16s coming in spring next year. Now, me personally will not be affected, but obviously there will be a lot of people that will. And again, silly idea, because I've heard a lot of people talking about, kids with autism, ADHD, all these disabilities where they feel that social media is their only way of contact with the outside world, because yes, some people find it hard to communicate in person, like I say, those with autism, ADHD, whatever else, so that I can perfectly understand. So from what I know, and from what I've heard at least, and again, this might be totally wrong, but again, this is my opinions, I don't think the government are taking this seriously enough, and they need to really give this a rethink massively, because it's not being done, and it definitely needs another think. Obviously though, we have a new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham. Maybe he might change this whole thing up, he might get rid of this ban that Keir Starmer brought in. I don't know, but of course we have to wait and see. So, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please press like and subscribe and all of that lovely stuff. And join me next week as I talk about the train derailments that have been happening in the UK very recently.